Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As a good lawyer should, I've prepared my heads of argument in writing, just to be on the safe side of what we'll be talking about. As Lani said, my name is Johan. I work in a legal combination of legal, political world in a constitutional environment. And as such, you'll excuse me if I revert a lot of what I'm saying tonight back to the Constitution and the constitutional framework. These kind of opportunities are few and far apart. The ability for South Africans to speak to each other doesn't happen all that often, apart from when we shout at each other through politicians. Hence my appreciation to the organizers for inviting me and for being able to speak to you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, for various reasons, we don't talk to each other. In some instances, these reasons are practical. We don't understand each other, as we quite literally don't speak the same languages. In others, we don't share communities, we don't share spaces. In other instances, the reasons are ideological. We don't like each other, we don't agree on the ideas or solutions, or even the views put forward by others, especially those who don't look like us. For whatever reason, we don't talk to each other. We assume, we perceive, we judge. Unfortunately, due to our terrible past, we do this primarily based on race. I'll come back to this point later on. As I said, pardon me for dealing with the Constitution, but this is what I do. I deal with promotion of the Constitution, with the values and rights, the principles enshrined therein in the interest of all South Africans. Our Constitution and our constitutional democracy is about people. The very first words of our Constitution are, "We the people of South Africa." This Constitution seeks to lay the foundation of a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of people, and every citizen is equally protected by law. It seeks to free the potential of each person and offers a simple but most sincere prayer: may God protect our people. Nkosi Sikelele Africa. Unfortunately, we the people regularly do not see each other as people. We rather see each other as obstacles, objects, or even outcasts. When we do that, we make it easy to justify our own prejudices, our own preconceived ideas about each other, especially in relation to race, but certainly not limited to it. We talk about equality and fairness, but only in context of our own worlds and concerns. We celebrate our Constitution and those values, rights, and principles which affirm that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. However, we have not even begun to understand what either unity or diversity means, let alone unity in diversity. Friends, I believe this is because the people of South Africa do not live in the same worlds. We are very much on different pages when we talk about achieving equality. We do not have compassion for each other, and in many cases, we simply do not care unless it involves me personally. Having said that, for many white South Africans, 1994 was the big compromise. Letting everyone vote, becoming a democracy. Those white South Africans do not necessarily understand that South Africa in 1994 was not a compromise. It was justice. Many white South Africans still do not understand that it was indeed only the beginning of a long walk and a long road achieving true equality. However, many other white South Africans, and I would like to include myself in that group, do understand that. Do understand that 1994 was merely the beginning of achieving justice, achieving equality. Unfortunately, most of those white South Africans, the latter group I've referred to, are often second-guessed and often questioned in relation to their sincerity purely because of the color of the skin. In turn, for many black South Africans, equality means only one thing: transformation, affirmative action, restorative justice, or at least that is the perception of many white South Africans. As such, many white South Africans fail to see the sincerity of a great number of black South Africans trying to foster social cohesion in the interest of everyone. Obviously, South Africa is still a hugely unequal society, even more so than in 1994. But that's a discussion for another day. Nevertheless, the Constitution did not envisage a society in which some are more equal than others. The Constitution sought to bring about a society in which, and I quote, everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and benefit of the law, close quote, in which everyone has full and equal enjoyment of all rights and freedoms, regardless of any precondition. Of course, in order to achieve such a society, the Constitution allows for legislative and other measures designed to protect or advance persons or categories of persons disadvantaged by unfair discrimination, as long as those matters are fair. I raise this matter of equality as I think this may be one of the best examples of how our subjective understanding of each other and our selfish own interests are manifesting in our daily expressions, what we say, what we talk about, especially our interactions with each other. I want to be treated equally and fairly, but do I afford that right to my fellow South African? I don't think so. The result of these subjective interpretations are growing animosity in society, fueled by racialism, individual acts of racism, black and white, white and black, indifference, disdain, entitlement and resentment, often, unfortunately, furthered and perpetuated by politicians and the media for their own selfish interest. As a society, we have to deal with the things that are going wrong in our country, but we have to do so on the basis of mutual respect. And these are the two key words I'm going to leave you with tonight in relation to my few points. People, mutual respect. We do not need to agree with each other on how to solve the problems, to solve what is wrong. We do not need to agree on which people is the best or which political party is the best to solve it. That is exactly what the democracy is all about. However, we have to agree to disagree within a framework in which dignity triumphs, in which mutual respect has no preconditions. We have to come to understand that how we as individuals treat each other in our day-to-day lives, what we say and how we say it, impact on our society and unity as a whole. We also have to understand that unity and social cohesion is not a function of government. At best, their behavior can promote it, at worst, it can destroy it. Instilling social cohesion and mutual respect amongst people, the people of South Africa, is up to us as individuals. Unfortunately, the injustices of our past and persistent social and political ills also influence how South Africans view each other to this day, often resulting in people no longer seeing each other as people, but rather as products of our own prejudices. The Constitution seeks to heal this division of the past by laying the foundations for a democratic and open society. In short, it seeks to build a united and democratic South Africa founded on the values of human dignity, the achievement of equality. We're not yet there. We haven't achieved an equal society. Advancement of human rights and freedoms for everyone, non-racialism, concept that we still haven't come to grasp and understand in South Africa, non-sexism, supremacy of the Constitution, the rule of law, and so forth. However, and this is where discussions like tonight are adding great value, the Constitution is not self-executing. The Constitution cannot fulfill its own obligations. We can. It only provides the framework in terms and the framework and rules in terms of which the people of South Africa must give life and meaning to the kind of society which the Constitution envisages. For us to heal the divisions of the past and to build a society and a South Africa united in its diversity, we have to show and treat each other with mutual respect. We have to understand that unity and diversity means that each one of us has the right to be different, yet to be treated equally. We have to set our prejudices aside and start building meaningful and equal relationships with those around us. We have to listen. We have to learn from each other. And we have to engage in real dialogue. Not with the people that look like us or agree with us, but the people who differ from us. We have to talk about those differences in a context of mutual respect. Each one of us has to do this uninhibited and unconditional in relation to respect for each other. I conclude with the last few words in relation to people and mutual respect. Mutual respect brings about understanding and compassion, something that's largely amiss in South Africa today. Mutual respect seeks to give more than it seeks to take. Without mutual respect, which I argue is a precondition for achieving true social cohesion in South Africa, we will remain merely a phrase in the preamble to the Constitution. We the people, we will remain but a phrase. We have to change our perceptions of each other and see people as people, regardless of race, culture, gender, religion, or any other of the grounds in terms of which we discriminate against each other. Crucially, we have to start somewhere. And the best place to start is with me. No politician, no leader, no one out there is going to fix it. Unless I make the change in my own world, with who I interact on a daily basis, showing respect in context of the world that I want to see in this country, where we live together as South Africans, respecting each other, I have to start with it. May God bless the people of South Africa. Nkosi sikelele, Afrika. Thank you.